Sadashiva Samarambam Shankara Sharya Madhyamam Asmada Sharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Param Ishvaro Guratmeti Murti Veda Vivagine Pyo Mabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti Shanti Shantiam Namaste, welcome. And I'm recording, yes, we are recording. We begin from our previous class on Panchadasi. We entered the third chapter. By the way, I have to make sure that I correct that previous one. I have to put chapter 3, not chapter 2. The discrimination of the 5 sheets. Now we saw the features of existence consciousness as an introduction. And then we looked into with the body. We've seen the physical sheet is the vital sheets. We've seen the vital sheets is the mental. It's like an onion in which these 5 layers, and it's 5 layers of phenomenon, let's say, or aspect, 5 layers of the body-mind complex of the human experience is experienced by every jiva. So, and it is from the denser, the physical body, to the more subtle, which is the causal body. We are dividing the body, the individual, the complex, the body-mind complex, we are dividing rather than in 3 bodies, we are dividing 5 different koshas or sheets. 3 of these are within the subtle body. One is the physical body, the food body, and the other one is the Anandamaya kosha, which is the causal body. So we looked into that, and then we looked in the body, and we saw that the body is a byproduct of food, which is basically a different way to say that it's a byproduct of karma. The body was not in existence in the previous birth, and therefore the body of today cannot produce the karma required for this present birth. So the author starts establishing that the body cannot be the self, because in order for the body to exist, we need to have put some actions in the field, into the system, because the body is a byproduct of karma. So definitely this body is not the cause of itself, because it was not there in the previous birth to produce this body. Therefore, the body cannot be the self. So we start establishing that the research is saying is karma. It says the karma required for this present birth was not done by this body. This body, which will be non-existent in the future, cannot work out the karma that is acquired in this birth. So, this body is not going to be there. And there is a continuity of the journey of the soul. So we may say that it's going to require another body, and then which is not this body, because it's going to be a different configuration based on the nature of the vasanas left. The subtle body as if shrinking back in its vasana body, and then according to that timeline, time, space, and the new instrument to process karma or experience is going to be created. So this new agent or instrument of experience is not going to be this body. So we establish here that it's absurd to imagine that the I is the body, the self is the body. And then since we brought the Vidyaranya brought into the equation the situation of the body, and the body as a byproduct of karma accumulate from previous birth, and then it opens up a discussion here around karma, the big picture, the logic behind karma and the body. Yeah. So it's very often seen that good people suffer. We saw it last time, and and bad people enjoys. But as I often say, on seen on the surface of the things, the bad people are enjoying. We could say that they are enjoying materialistic punya, okay, because of some actions they did in the previous life, okay. But when you examine it more carefully, we see that more often than less, these people who are very rich or multi-millionaires or billionaires, they do not really enjoy their materialistic punya, because in the process of acquiring and maintaining their wealth, those millions and billions, they violate dharma that much, so much that the dharma, the body, comes to a point in which the body-mind complex loses its possibility to be an enjoyer due to violation of dharma. Let me close the window that is doing beep beep here. Okay, I found it. Okay, so it's we say that some people suffer, some people enjoy, and even if they don't do appropriate actions or whatever, But then the scriptures, to begin with, establish that we reap the karma from previous births. So somebody is enjoying the rich. Sometimes people genuinely enjoy spiritual punya karma. It comes with those tendencies, spiritual vasanas, that open the way so that the person can further elevate itself, spiritually speaking. So we have those karmas, and then we acquire those karmas. They reap, and then they enjoy, and then if you are the body, again, the body is now responsible for that, because this body was not there to plant those seeds of punya. Okay, that's the first conclusion, that there is a certain set of laws, which is the most fundamental law in existence, which is causality. That cause and effect controls and structures the entire universe. And from the standpoint, from the angle, from the perspective of the human jiva, there is a fundamental law, which is moral, ethical, karmic, psychological laws that operate in the human jiva, and none other of these living creatures are subject to these laws, but the human jivas, because they were given the choice, the free will to choose, and the most fundamental choice is to conform to the natural laws of the universe, dharma, or to violate them due to the pressure coming from our ignorance, our desires and aversions. So this is the most fundamental exercise of a human free will. So we're going to establish this very clearly through this few lines here in the continuation of this Panchadasi, that we are not the food body, because the body is not going to be there in the future to reap the results of what we are doing today. And this body was not there before planting the seeds of my Parabhada. The Parabhada is the karma that is fructifying moment to moment in my life. Therefore, the body is not really the self, okay? If the body is the cause of karma, we cannot explain why good people enjoy it and other people suffer, okay? And then we're gonna go into that logic. If the body is the cause, and then how can we explain that some people doing very well this birth, this lifetime, but yet he's going through a lot of pain and suffering and bad karma, because there is more than one life, one incarnation. And otherwise, unless we would say that God is unjust, okay, and plays favorites, which is not acceptable, okay. So the theory of unjust, unfair God is not possible. It would make Ishvara what? Subject to likes and dislikes. It would make Ishvara a super jiva, one who I like what I like and I don't like, and I'm going to be revengeful, and I'm going to give a lot of bad circumstance to that person because that person said something that I did not like. So it would put Ishvara on the same level of jivas, which is absurd, okay? So Ishvara is not subject to its own law, its own laws, and then these karmic laws are not, operating in Ishvara. Ishvara is not a super jiva, as we have mentioned. The laws operating in its field, it's integral part of Ishvara itself, okay? But Ishvara being pure sattva, it's not affected by any of these. It's just the laws by which it structures and ordains, and maintains and destroys the Dharma field in a moment-to-moment base, okay? So there is no point in believing that God has some likes and dislikes and preference because God is beyond karma. And furthermore, we see that that Ishvara is all knowing, it's pure intelligence. And how we know that? Because this universe is structured, designed in such an intelligent manner, and it's maintained, sustained in such an intelligent manner as well. And everything is ordained, everything is ordered, And then, so jivas, they are so small, they know almost nothing in respect to how this world is manifest, sustained, protect, and recycled in a moment to moment. So we know nothing. So we should never try to put Ishvara on the same level and say that Ishvara is a big guy up there that has some preference. Therefore, it's very unfair with me, and I am a victim of the universe. The universe is conspiring against me. So a lot of people take that victimizing, infantile attitude by not understanding that, nothing happens by chance. And Ishvara is not unfair. It just gives back to us what we need to receive in order to move on and to learn some basic lessons. And then we have the other option. If Ishvara is not playing unfair or does not have preference, and if the body is the self, because if we have to say like, no, everything is contained within one lifetime, and then there is no question of previous births, previous bodies, everything is one body, and then there are a lot of things that cannot be explained, but then we can say, forget it, there is no free will. Ishvara is determining who is going to suffer, who is going to enjoy, is going to play favorites, or it's going to say it's a lottery, it's just like a coin, it's accidental, and then we just see what comes, and then a lot of people falling for this kind of twist in regards to the nature of free will, because looking for a different perspective, we may say that the jiva does not have absolute free will, or even the jiva does not have free will when we see the picture from Ishvara angle, from the macro. Jivas do not have really free will because everything is being sustained, coordinated, and done in the macro sphere by Ishvara and its laws. And Ishvara is not a guy, as we know. So we have this situation that the jiva has a free will, a relative free will, and we can never say that it's just an accident. So I don't care. So many people try hard to get enlightened or to transcend or to there is a new expression which is to move into a higher dimension, elevate themselves and move into certain locus and so on. And they work, and they don't move. Okay. And then somebody else get enlightened, somebody else get transformed, or somebody else claims to be, from the fifth dimension and whatnot. You understand? So if we see things like that and we say, no, it's by accident, it's again another sign that we did not understand the karmic laws and the fact that our efforts is one among many factors. And even if we put up a lot of good efforts, positive spiritual efforts right now for months, year, the past 5 years or 10 years, this lifetime, is still we need to deal with what we have done in the previous birth. And then we have to deal with the way my efforts are going to impact and combined with the efforts, actions of many other jivas and many other factors which are not jiva factors, but it is beyond jiva, okay? Cosmic factors and universal factors and so on. So our actions is again and again, it's almost like a prayer. We are putting good actions in a proper direction. At the same time, we have the momentum of our sanchita karma, with some or many unappropriate actions, that are going to be offsetting our efforts now. It's a huge equation, this karmic equation, as I often say, but we can never say really that is an accident, it's by chance, because it's easy for us to connect actions and its results. Okay, we know very well if we are a loving, respectful creature, we're going to attract sympathy towards us. If we are nasty, angry, revengeful, or irritable, and nasty, or I said, or person, and we are not going to attract loving, and friendly energies towards us. People are going to stay away from us. Instead, we're going to attract angry people, nasty people, and because the energies, they somehow, they resonate and they start pulling themselves together, okay? So we know that there is a connection between what we give and what we take, yeah? So if we insist to say it is an accident, and then we run in the most fundamental problem. So there is no order here. Anything can happen at any moment. And some people will say, yes, I'm not the doer. Okay, I understood Balsaka, and whatever is meant to be will be. I just enjoy my life. And he told me once when I went to visit him in Bombay, he said, forget about everything. You are not the doer. And go home and enjoy yourself, make love with your woman, forget about all of this because you are not the doer. If you are meant to get enlightened, you are going to get enlightened. And I say, how interesting. It sounds profound, very, very profound. And then later on, I start reflecting and say, so can it be possible, I mean, it almost feels like to be right because I'm working on it already for 10 years and I did not get enlightened. So, no, it's a science, it needs to be understood. But if I would take it to be a total chance, a total accidents, and then I would never make any effort to make myself a better and more evolved and more elevated human being, I would never make any effort. Why? Because doesn't matter. I mean, my actions do not count because it is a big lottery. okay? And and then there the notion of a purposeful work, okay? So like purposeful work. So nobody would work if everybody would come to the conclusion that there is no link between my actions and the results. You understand? So, for example, I definitely need a job. I have lost my previous job. I have a house. I have a family, and jobs are difficult to be found. And then I say, but it's all, a chance. I'm going to stay home and I will see. So somebody will somehow see my situation, offer me a job. And then somebody else is just looking and knocking and sending resumes all over the place. So people would not do anything if they would be absolutely sure that everything is just a lottery, it's a chance, and your actions do not count. So purposeful work would not exist. Nobody would be motivated to even to get up out of bed and begin doing its best. Okay, so that would be the consequence of taking this theory that the universe is a chaos, is an accident, is pure chance. And then here, the law of karma says that there is an infallible connection between action and its result, and they went their way through the Dharma field. The Dharma field is huge, and it often takes time for an action to return to the one that initiated it. You remember that small story about the king? The king was really upset. He woke up in the morning, and then one of the prime ministers came, and then he did say something to the king, and the king was in a bad mood, and then it slapped his minister. You understand? And it was not fair. It was not appropriate. And the minister said, "Okay, I take it. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my head because the king is in a bad mood." And then the minister went around. And then, but he was really upset because it was not fair. The first opportunity he had, he passed on that slap. He slapped someone who was under him. And then he did do that. And then to cut the story short, this other person kept passing on this aggression, this physical aggression. And then it went all around the kingdom. And then one day it came, and the queen, the wife of the king, was doing something with her mother or grandmother or the mother of the king. But since this slap went all over the place, it came back to king's wife, and the wife got that slap. And she did not have anybody to pass it on, and she passed it on to the king. It came back to the king, you understand? Because sometimes it takes time because of the nature of the Dharma field. Every action we put it there is going to combine with so many other actions and many other factors which are not related to Jiva's actions. And then when we see, it comes back as our prarabdha karma. It takes some time. We need to be patient. We cannot expect to be totally liberated, enjoying moksha after just a few months, years, or decades, if we understand this law of karma. If the body dies in the meantime, it's not a problem because the Jivatma will pick up another body to receive the karmas. It's like the Jiva is hooked up, he wants experience, he leaves the place he already wanting to come back. In fact, some people do not want to go. Shwara has a hard time to do this surgery of pulling the subtle body from the physical body due to attachment. But then, Ishvara is going to be compelled to give that soul, that subtle body, another physical body. So the person who wants to go and continue with the experiences and processing the vasanas, karmas, and then immediately it comes with its load, vasana load, tendencies, and so on. Yeah, and then it's going to start dealing with its parabada karmas, sanchita parabada, and back into the cycle of the arriving karmas, presenting their karmas, and so on. If you argue that you don't remember what you did in your past life, therefore it was not you, no remembrance is not proof of non-existence of your previous actions, of course. So the fact that we don't remember, I mean, I don't remember what I had for lunch in the day before, quite honestly. So we don't know. Furthermore, if a bad person commits suicide, he or she will escape the karma if the body is the self. So I have a lot of suffering. The suffering is for this body, the body is the self, and then I just finished with this physical body, and then I have resolved the karma. No, the karma just does not belong to the physical body, although the physical body is going to experience an aspect of this karma, of the prarabdha karma, but it goes to the subtle body, and the subtle body is going to have to deal with it whenever it gets another physical body. The result accrues because the one who committed it, Jiva-Atma, persists, means to say, does not die with the physical body. Okay, so we are establishing more and more that the body, the physical body, is not the self. Okay, it's something so temporary. Yet most of us have this confusion and this attachment or misidentification with the physical body, believing that the physical body is the self. But we have been establishing what is the self. The self is something that is always ever present and never subject to limitations such as time, always present, and never changes or modifies. It does not grow old and so on. And there are many of our teachings that are going to give us the tools to verify it in our day-to-day experience, that there is this element in our human experience that is never changed, never not present, not subject to any limitation, okay? And that is not the body. And we are going through all these arguments, which are a little bit more gross, to make sure that we understand that the physical body is just a bag, a supermarket bag full of food. And then we say, no, let's commit suicidal and be over with my karma. So no, you're going to come back and you're going to take care of these results of action. Now you have one more problem, which is the suicidal, which is said to be a very bad action that has a huge price tag attached to it. So in the spiritual, esoteric fields or circle, they say so. You understand? Shvara is not just a physical order, it is the moral order that makes purposeful work possible. Otherwise, what would be the purpose of this stage, this Dharma field, the field of interaction? Okay, it has to be ordered so that cause and effect, a purpose for my interaction can be established. Otherwise, this physical reality is useless, A moral order requires previous and future births and someone who is birthless and deathless. Otherwise, and someone who is birthless and deathless. Otherwise, you could escape the results of your actions by killing the body. And moral chaos will ensue you because actions have to accrue to the jiva that does them, not to someone else. So we again establishing the fact that this is a moral, properly structured moral, ethic, karmic order in which a previous birth and a future birth is necessary. Why? Because as we grow older, we keep doing some sort of action until the last breath. And so we keep still holding a lot of sanchita in our causal body, let's say. Okay, and there is no way that we can exhaust all our sanchitas in a lifetime, because we keep producing more agamis, and agamis are going to not, because the sanchita is said to be that what is there already from the get-go, from the beginning of our birth, but we keep adding more sanchita. Okay, so unless the yani, the individual is a yani, and then the case the yani, it's said that self-knowledge burns with all sanchita due to the immediately disidentification with this karmic process, actions, and its results. But any other human being identified as the doer and the enjoyer, they will be just accumulating more and more karma until the last breath, and then one requires a new birth. So if it was not so, and then we would say, okay, let me go there and have fun. I can do what I do because there is only one time, one life. And in my philosophy, there is not even hell and heaven, because, as we know in Christianity, they say, okay, there is only one life, and then there is eternal life. Yeah? It's a concept, the Catholic Christian, one life only, and then eternal life. The eternal life, you're going to be either in hell or in heaven. In hell, you're going to suffer for eternity, and in heaven, you're going to enjoy for eternity. Okay, so this is a different moral order, but not many people fall for that anymore, and they became more materialistic by design, by nature, by ignorance. And then they say, no, let me squeeze, sensory satisfaction here, at any cost, at any price, because there is only one life, and then when I'm done, and I don't believe in hell, and I don't believe in heaven either. Huh? So, but if you look at life as a journey, of the soul, which is not limited to one birth, and then you need to bring into equation, into view, the fact that there is this karmic moral order, and I know that the new guy, the new Jiva coming after me is going to come, and they will have to deal with the actions I'm doing now. If I kill the body, it could be problematic for my soul coming back with a new instrument of experience. So if there will be a moral chaos due to a total misconception in regards to this moral order, and then anybody would do any action just to get instant gratification, okay, and believing that none of that is coming to me, because anyhow I just have a few more years, and then I'm done with this year. Just want to squeeze as much joy as possible, or maybe somebody else is going to pay for me, But it is a matter of experience. The results of my actions accrue to me, and the results of your actions accrue to you. If I do a job for someone, I get paid for it, and not otherwise. When I go to sleep at night, I do not awake, in your life, for example. It's another example. So what I do here, I'm going to enjoy or suffer the results, because the action accrue to each one of us. The other possibility is that it is born from somebody else's karma. That is even more crazy. Okay, so now I'm suffering because of somebody else that did so many bad things, and then I just took over. I just took on their karma, because somehow it is a total chaos here. I'm paying for the bad actions, for the sins, okay, these bad people, these evil people. They are doing so many people in the planet, and I'm paying because that's how it works, karma. Somebody does one thing and somebody else has to deal with the results, okay? But our scriptures make it clear that it's not really that way, okay? And this is let me follow this. The other possibility is that it is born from somebody else's karma, but this does not work because the doer and the enjoyer are different, because the doer and the enjoyer are different. In this case, I do something and then somebody else is going to pay for it. Somebody goes here and for example, I rob a bank, and then I'm confident that somehow somebody else is going to pay and go to jail for it. I'm going to try to frame someone, and so the doer and the sufferer, the one who is going to get the results of that are two. But in truth, the doer and the enjoyer, the doer of the actions and the experience of the results are the same entity. Sometimes we call this entity the karta and the bhokta, as to say two aspects of our personality, because there is a certain aspect of our personality as the one who responds to the stimulus coming from the field. And then there is another aspect of our personality when we have to receive the prarabdha karma, the way we're going to receive it. It shows again another aspect of our human personality. But it's one jiva with two aspects. One is the karta and one is the bhokta. One is the doer and the other is the experiencer of the results of one's prarabdha karma. So no, it's one entity. There is no question of you do something and somebody else is going to pay for it or enjoy it, okay? Because action and its results, they are linked to the doer. The bhokta, the enjoyer, the experience is linked to the same doer. Of course, that there is karmas. Karma has to be understood on the universal collective level as well. When society decays to a certain extent, and then collectively a civilization may suffer, okay? Because overall, most of humanity took this materialistic lifestyle view, and then as a result, society as an entire nation or entire planet needs to pay the prarabdha karma, the planetary prarabdha karma, or the nation prarabdha karma, or whatever, But we need to keep in mind that the individual has its own prarabdha karma as well, okay, which is still within the universal karma, the collective karma, but within that we have our own equation of cause and effect, actions and results, or experiencing the results, okay? So the doer and the enjoyer, the doer and the one that experiences the results is one single entity. At the behest of the jiva, the body performs various karmas. So there is karma to fructify and sanchita karma unexhausted. But if it dies without exhausting karma, to whom will the karma go? This is another question. So what is Shivara going to do with if Claudio dies prematurely, young age, with a lot of karmas, and then if the line ends there, the soul is not something that travels from birth to birth. The soul is born out of the physical body, and then it disappears with the death of the physical body. And then Claudio is putting up a lot of these karmas, and now there is a lot of sanchitas and parabhadas still to be exhausted. And what the hell is Ishvara going to do with that? And then we have to measure that. Now we're going to dilute it in the Dharma field, and then other people are going to pay the price or enjoy the fruits of Claudio's actions. Okay, so this to make a point yeah, that one is not the physical body. The body dies, and we have a lot of karma in the system. James likes to say in the pipeline. In the pipeline, in the system, there is still a lot of sanchita and prarabdha, and then Ishvara wouldn't know what to do with all of that. It has to come back to the jiva as soon as the jiva gets a new physical body. This puts an end on the fantasy that suicidal could be a good way out. Okay, it is, but it isn't. It is in a way because the soul is not going to remember the suicidal, yeah, and the suffering that has brought the person to kill herself or himself. But the soul is going to experience a lower birth in which there will be this generalized feeling of suffering, of grief, of depression, which was a depression that compelled the soul to kill the physical body in previous birth. Okay, so if we have some difficult time within our lifetime, it's beautiful, it's better to understand karma in its integrity as a law, and understand that if there are a lot of papa karmas for whatsoever reason, it is a good opportunity to exhaust those papas. Okay. Oh, but I'm not going to be there to enjoy. When I exhaust, I'm going to be cleaning up everything, and then there will be another person to enjoy a better birth. Okay, no, it's not another person. It's not the same person. It's the same soul. And even if you don't remember that you don't remember what you had for breakfast yesterday. Okay, but it's going to be you, your soul. And even if you don't remember, be sure to keep this Karma Yoga spirit and improve the environment, improve the soul, so that the next jiva in line can have, better, more propitious environment, atmosphere in which to work for self-knowledge and moksha. Okay. Okay. Many karmas will go to waste, or they will go to the wrong person or someone else, if the person kills himself or herself. Who knows? If the body is the cause of karma, it will also be the one who receives the karma. But it's not there. How can the karma fructify for this body in the next birth if Ishvara never repeats the same physical body? The subtle body, which is the doer and the experiencer, the doer, the enjoyer, the karta and the bhokta, okay, this jiva entity, okay, which is karta bhokta, which is the subtle body. So this doer, enjoyer, doer experience, doer enjoyer entity, which is the kartas / bhokta, which is the Jiva Atma, which is a byproduct of the subtle body, it survives the death of the physical body. Survives permanently because it is the eternal Jiva. I don't know why it was put Ishvara. So I thought it was a good concept of the eternal Jiva. The doer enjoyer, the entity, Karta, Bhokta, is a Jiva. It is it is in the subtle body. We could say the subtle body is what it's which contains the quality of this mind, which is in the subtle body, survives permanent because it is the eternal Ishvara, so it can continue to produce, enjoy, and exhaust karma. So here the commentary is resolving the Jiva in Ishvara, but it will be more easily understood that the subtle body is eternal, survives the loss of the physical instrument, and this subtle body is eternal. Therefore, we have this concept of eternal jiva. And so it can continue to produce, enjoy, and exhaust karma. So it says Ishvara because you see the manifestation is a core work between Ishvara and Jiva. We say that Ishvara is going to produce another physical body for the subtle body, okay, who survives every time the death of the physical body. And then it is eternal Ishvara that continues to produce, enjoy, and exhaust karma. Ishvara is going to produce a physical body, but it's going to produce it together with the jiva, who is deprived now of the physical body. The jiva, without a physical body, if he is under the spell of much ignorance, he's going to kick and scream, wanting another physical body. And that is enough for Ishvara or Jiva, with the help of Ishvara, to produce another instrument so that this poor Jiva can continue processing karma or exhausting karma or acquiring more karma or whatever, From beginningless time, the Jivatma has existed and it survives endlessly. So it is possible for the Jivatma to exhaust the accumulated karma and collect yet to be exhaust karmas. Okay, so it is possible for it to exhaust all the karmas. It survives, so it is possible for it to exhaust the accumulated karmas and collect yet to be exhaust karmas. So the new cycle of samsara gives us the opportunity to exhaust a lot of karmas, but in the process, we are collecting yet to be exhaust karmas. The same sets of jivas appear and disappear endlessly. So no new jivas appear and disappear, because to create jivas, we require karma. But karma cannot create consciousness because it is inert. Now, the author here, well, I think this sounds like Paramarthananda, established the connection between karma and the jiva identified with the physical body. So the jiva is not the physical body. We have clearly understood that. And it's the subtle body, which is the storehouse of the agamis and sanchitas, and parabadas. It somehow exists there. It does not go anywhere. It does not dissolve itself, because those karmas, they are based on the identification of the Jivatma as the doer and the enjoyer, karta and bhokta. So it remains there, looking forward for continuation. Okay, so that's going to give the opportunity to the Jiva to exhaust some sanchita, but in the process, it's going to collect some more, and then the same sets of jivas, and then these jivas, they are endless. They are souls that come to become jivas, appear and disappear endlessly. Okay, and only Ishvara knows how to keep in account all the karmas which individually are, designated to each one of these individual souls. No new jivas appear and disappear, because to create jivas, we require karma. So no new jivas appear and disappear. The jiva, this is an interesting concept. The jiva, we need to understand what is a jiva. Definitely, the jiva is not the physical body. If we want to look more deeply into what is a jiva, it is the atma, the reflected atma. Okay, so the jiva is atma, consciousness, the self reflect on a subtle body, and this subtle body is going to produce the I thought, the I am, I exist, and I do, and I'm identified as the doer and the enjoyer of the results of my actions. Okay, so this jiva, it is this very subtle phenomenon, okay, which is not even the subtle body. The subtle body is just subtle energy, okay? So it serves the purpose to produce Atma. This Atma is reflect, it identifies with the three bodies, okay? And it survives endlessly, but it remains as a jiva, literally, as whenever it is in process of the organs of experience and the instruments of experience, because the jiva is defined as an experiencing entity. Experience entity needs to have, okay, the three bodies and Vyavaharika, the Dharma field in which it transacts and experience and process karma. So it is possible for the jiva to exhaust, accumulate. In the process, is going to acquire, collect some more. It's the same jivas, it's the same souls, appearing and disappearing again and again, howsoever we want to call. If we want to call the soul a jiva, we can call. These jivas are going to appear and going to disappear, are the same souls. They are connected to the overall soul, the macrocosm, causal body and subtle body. There are not really new jivas. No new jivas appear, disappear, because to create jivas, we require karma, but karma cannot create consciousness because it is inert. So it's saying here that the jivas are nothing really new because they exist already in the macrocosm causal body as the seed of the jiva, individualized as individual soul, in its potential latent tendency, or the causal body with all impressions of everything that was lived before, which is still screaming and asking for continuation. So there are no new jivas, they exist forever. It's the same set of jivas. They appear, disappear. There are no new jivas, because in order to create jivas, we need karma. So that's the last passage that did not click to me yet. There are no new jivas. They exist as seed. But there are, okay, I understood. There are no new jivas. Nobody creates a new jivas because the jivas are created by past actions. The jivas are karma, the results of actions that are retained as mental, emotional, intellectual impressions that are screaming, yelling for continuation of experience. So to create, who creates the jivas? Actions, karma. You understand? That's why we can say that Ishvara alone cannot create jiva, jagat. Ishvara needs the jiva atmas to produce karmas, and then depending on the nature of the karmas, Ishvara is going to, as a facilitator, is going to provide these souls with another body-mind complex so that the jiva becomes again experiencing entity transacting with the Vyavaharika. So there are no new jivas because nothing is new under the sun. The jiva exists there all the time. It's a byproduct of karma. Okay, so and karma is not somehow a linear equation. It's cyclical. Okay, if we would, another way to look into it is if everyone in the planet would understand the true nature and being absolutely dispassionate in regards to actions and its results, what would happen to the jivas? So everybody got fully enlightened. Moksha was established across the entire planet. And then moksha is said to destroy all sanchita, okay? Agami and sanchita. And to a certain extent, it destroys also Parabhada. It means to say that everybody is going to be exhausting whatsoever Parabhada karma, leaving the physical dimension without any interest to come back. Now, how Ishvara is going to create more jivas without jivas, desires and aversions? Jivas, vasanas, jivas, karmas, okay? Results of actions, impressions that are still urgent for continuation. You understand, Claudio?
No, not the last passage that you say. Not the last thing that you say.
Here it says that there are no new jivas ever appear and disappear. Why? Because the jivas, they exist either manifest or unmanifest. They exist as the causal body, okay? To some, it's said to exist as the subtle body, but the subtle body becomes an experiencing entity when it's associated with the physical body and the physical or field of experience, okay? So it can be maybe a subtle field of experience. And then we would go into the esotericism, to different fields of experience in which the soul utilizes different bodies with different frequencies, okay? Vedanta does not deal with it, okay? It deals with the fact that we live here, this is our dimension, it's a physical dimension, we need the subtle body, the physical body to be established as a jiva, an experience entity, and we know that in here we can extract knowledge, experience and knowledge, okay? In the dream, we can't really, because we don't have the Vyavaharic at our disposal, okay? But the point here is that these jiva, they exist, okay? In the subtle, in the causal, there is never new jiva, because nobody can create a jiva, not even Ishvara, because what creates jivas are karma. Karma, in that sense, are all the agamis and sanshitas. The jiva is the labor aspect of the universe that keeps creating actions or response to the environment. And these response are going to be given to the field. And then on the macrocosmic level, Ishvara has the vasanas of the universe, understand, by which it's going to be remodeling, reshape, okay, the universe. So the physical material universe is again and again reshaped based on karma, because the same individual is going to be reborn, and then he's going to be reborn according to the nature of its vasanas, its karmas, its sanshitas, its punya papas, its vasanas. And then these vasanas, these punya papas, is going to determine the time, the space, the society, the culture, the parents, and the circumstance in which this soul is going to return. Okay, so what is going to create this new jiva? It's Ishvara, yes, but Ishvara needs jiva's vasanas. Okay, jiva's desires and fears, likes and dislikes, punya papas, because everything is custom designed for the jivas individually, and then society collectively, okay, and then the universe as a total, okay. So karma has different levels. And then it says here that Ishvara cannot really create jivas, because to create jivas, karma is required. Okay, so, and karma is something that happens within jiva and Ishvara. Ishvara presents the circumstance of our lives, yeah, the Dharma field in its current condition, moment to moment, day to day. And then the jiva is designed, is called to respond. So this interaction between the stimuli and the response, it's what produces the material by which Ishvara, okay, the macrocosm, the laws, and of the universe are going to be reshaping the universe. And then within that example, if everybody would be disinterested, not interested in more experience, there will be no vasanas, no desires for continuation. And then the universe would lose its purpose, because we need to understand this. Jiva is co-creator together with Ishvara of the universe. And a lot of people do not understand this statement and say, oh yes, I am co-creator, I can control my destiny and attract everything, I create my own reality because I co-create. Well, you are co-creator in your very, very small, portion by what you contribute to the field, the nature of your vasanas, or even by spreading the words that it's not a good idea to come back here to keep experiencing duality. You understand? And then you are at least planting the seeds of self-inquiry, self-knowledge, and moksha. But ignorance, knowledge cannot survive without ignorance. This duality, dark, light and dark, is going to remain present. But the point in here is that karma cannot create consciousness, of course. So jivas cannot be created because they exist eternally. Ishvara cannot create without karma. So everything is karma. It's reducing everything into this fundamental, most primordial law called causality. But karma cannot create consciousness. Of course not. Consciousness is the power by which a jiva, the entity, the experiencing, doing, knowing entity, can respond. Okay, karma is an inert law. The jiva is an inert construct. Let's say the jiva is an inert construct, although it has its conscious aspect, the Atma aspect of the jiva that needs to be realized. But karma, the actions done, the thoughts and actions done by the jiva fundamentally are inert. Ishvara cannot provide the karma either, because Ishvara is not the doer and enjoyer. And then it complements what I was saying before. Ishvara is impotent as the creator and the sustainer without jivas. So Ishvara cannot provide the karma either, because Ishvara is not the doer or enjoyer. The world cannot provide karma for a new jiva. So matter cannot provide karma because it's inert. Without the eternal jiva, now we see, I did not read this part earlier today. Without the eternal jiva, creation of the body is impossible. Now we got into the concept of the famous eternal jiva. The jiva is that entity that exists forever, unless it melts away or dissolves itself in consciousness, as consciousness once it understands the futility of having, let's say, binding desires for continuation, for experience is most fundamental. Vasana, the vasana for dualistic experience. Experience must be dualistic. There is no such a thing as non-dualistic experience. Is this knowledge in regards to the non-dual nature of the self. And the Ishvara is helpless. It cannot create none of this. It is a joint effort, okay? It's a joint venture between all jivas and Ishvara. Ishvara is providing the field, the jivas respond with actions, and then the jiva becomes the doer, the enjoyer, or the sufferer. The world cannot provide karma either for a new jiva, and the jiva provides it because the world is inert. Without the eternal jiva creation, the body is impossible, but yet the jiva does not know how to create the body. It is a joint venture between the Ishvara and the jiva, and of course, consciousness, without which none of this magic show is possible. Okay, it's a little bit long here. I'm going to make a sign here. So did it become more clear, this passage, in which way Jiva is co-creator and...
Yeah, this is, no, what it wasn't clear was just a last passage that you say just before you ask me. So maybe I have to hear again the recording, because you put a sentence that it was a little bit confusing, but now I don't remember. But in general, the concept is very, very clear. So maybe it's only one sentence that I don't understand.
So pay attention.
I will hear it.
And bring your questions. Maybe next time
Yeah.
I will do a better job to express Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else, Lynn? Okay, dokie. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, my friend. Thank you a lot. And we haven't even gone yet into the other koshas. We're still stuck with seeing the body and then karma. Karma is something that we need to understand before we move into the other 4 sheets. Okay. So we meet again next Monday with Panchadasi again. So it's going to remain a little bit more fresh, and we can maybe do a Q&A if Claudio brings some question on. Thank you. Much love. Big hug.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.
Again soon.